Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Inside Elections. The date is Tuesday, January 27th, 2026, and today we're going to talk about this news coming out of the state of Minnesota, following all the recent news out of the state of Minnesota that I'm sure you're aware with, and just what exactly it means. So what we're talking about right now, I'm going to talk later about the electoral repercussions of all of this news coming out of the state of Minnesota, because that's what my channel is more based on election news and electoral repercussions. But right now, I'm going to talk about this. The Minnesota GOP candidate for governor dropped out of the race, saying that he cannot support Republicans anymore, that he cannot support their retribution. When he dropped out, he was by no means the front runner in this race, but he was a GOP candidate for the governor's race in Minnesota, no less. And what he called this, the immigration enforcement operation in Minneapolis, as an unmitigated disaster. This is from a Republican gubernatorial candidate. He said, and I quote, "I cannot support the National Republicans' stated retribution on the citizens of our state, nor can I count myself a member of a party that would do so." This is just one case coming 2 days after this news. Republicans are fleeing. This is one action that has stepped over the line for Republicans. And Republicans are saying so. If you have Republican gubernatorial candidates dropping out of a race, leaving their party, saying that their party is stating retribution on the citizens of the United States of America. That is not how you want to go going to the midterms. And this is not a one-off scenario. Yes, this is the only major Republican candidate dropping out of the race, leaving the party, etc. But, I mean, guns rights groups are blasting the Trump administration over this. Over the Second Amendment. I mean, even the NRA has came out and said that we do not support this. This is against the Second Amendment rights of the United States of America. And not just the NRA, multiple gun groups has expressed horror, their Politico's words, not mine, at the Trump administration over this news, over the assassination of Alex Pretti. The reason they're doing this is because he had a legal permit to carry a weapon. But look what the FBI director, Kash Patel, said. He said that, that you cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest. That's what he said. The Second Amendment says otherwise. That's what Republicans have been fighting for years, for decades. Gun rights, in the Second Amendment. And now you have the FBI director saying you cannot bring a firearm to a protest? If that's not a violation of Second Amendment rights, I don't know what is. Previous groups that backed Donald Trump over the Second Amendment, the Trump administration over the Second Amendment, without looking behind whatsoever, are now coming away from support for this news. And there's another poll. This also from Politico. This is a poll that they did that really says a lot. This poll is amongst Trump voters, specifically non-MAGA versus MAGA voters, who declare themselves as either non-MAGA or as MAGA. 12% of MAGA-aligned voters say that Donald Trump's approach to deportation, to immigration, is too aggressive. 12% of the most hardline Republicans who would have backed Donald Trump for anything are saying that he is doing too much. This is too aggressive. This is not good. This is not what I voted for. And the astounding 29% of non-MAGA voters who are Republicans but don't identify as MAGA, 29% are saying this is too aggressive, that this is not what I voted for, that this should not be happening. If you have 30% of the Republican Party saying that you're going too far, this is not good, this is too much, you need to stop, that's going to spill out disaster for Republicans in the midterms, because all it would take is 1, maybe 2% of Republicans defecting the party in the 2026 midterms, whether they vote for Democrats or they vote for a third party or don't turn out, etc., that would spell out absolute disaster for the Republican Party. Another poll I want to talk about is Donald Trump's overall job approval on immigration. This latest poll, this real quick, this news when Alex Pretti was killed was on January 24th. This latest poll that has Donald Trump's approval on immigration at -14, this was done from January 13th to January 25th. This was in the height of the shooting of Alex Pretti in the state of Minnesota, in Minneapolis. In his approval, that one poll is down 14. But look at the polls before this event happened. +5 approval, only -5, +5. Now, yes, there was these two polls from CBS News in the New York Times that had him minus way more at -16 and 18. Take with that what you will. But before that, -4, -3, -2. So I don't know if this latest poll is another outlier like CBS News, like the New York Times, but it looks like people are becoming fed up with this, fed up with all the news that they hear about ICE, about Border Patrol, about how it's everyday news, not quite everyday, but it is common news. People are not surprised to turn on the TV and see that a Border Patrol agent shot and killed a U.S. citizen. Simply put, they're not surprised anymore. And that is finally turning based on this latest poll, based on this other poll about Republican voters, about their view on immigration, for gun rights groups, gun rights activists blasting the Trump administration over their handling of this, over their apparent violation of the Second Amendment. And this has only been a little bit over a year. I want to show you this, a tracker of Donald Trump's approval since he took office. When he started in office, he had the benefit of the doubt. He was +11 approval. He had a solid approval rating for president. However, as his administration went on, it just went lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. It just kept going down. In April, just 4 months after taking office, 4 months, he had a -10 approval rating. Then it went back up. This was at the height of the tariff war when the markets plummeted, etc. I'm sure you remember that. Does not feel like close to a year ago, but it has been. Since then, his approval rating's been steadily going down. To today, he has a -15 approval rating. And he only took office a couple days more than a year ago. It has not been that long. And the midterm elections are still over 9 months away. Over the previous 9 months since, let's see, what will be 9 months from January? That would be December. That would be February. No, it would not be. That would be March. No, that would be April. In about April, he had about a -5 approval rating. And is it April? Yeah. In April, he had about a -5 approval rating. 9 months later, he has a -15 approval rating. If this keeps tracking, if this chart keeps going down, which personally I do not see what could happen for this to start tracking upwards again. If it keeps tracking downwards and at this same pace, and the same pace that it has been for the past year, by the time the midterms happen, Donald Trump's going to have a close to -25 approval rating. And that should mark absolute disaster for the Republican Party. This is the Senate map. Right now, this is the Senate map. These are the battleground states that each party are going to focus a lot in the 2026 midterms. If this keeps tracking, if more events like what's happening in Minneapolis, if more events like gun rights groups, if even you have the most diehard Republican voters, the gun rights activists who will uphold the Second Amendment at any cost, if you have them blasting the Trump administration over his handling of immigration, Donald Trump's best issue, he's only -5 on immigration, -5.7 overall. Look at the economy. He's -14. Foreign policy, he is -11. Immigration, of course, -5. Inflation, he's -23. On crime, he's -1. On the Russia-Ukrainian war, he's -17. On the Israel-Hamas war, he's negative. This is one of his best issues, and if this keeps tracking, he's going to have the vast majority of the country disapprove of this, of what he's doing in office, and his approval rating is only going to plummet even further. And let's go back to the Senate map. If this keeps tracking, the Republicans can kiss goodbye flipping Michigan. They can kiss goodbye flipping Georgia. They can kiss goodbye holding on to North Carolina and Maine. And that alone would bring Democrats to 49 seats. They would only have to win 2 of these 6 seats left to win a Senate majority in 2026. And Democrats are looking very good in the state of Alaska. Mayor Peltola is popular. She's leading in polls. The Senator Dan Sullivan has a negative approval rating. He's one of the most unpopular senators in the country. Democrats are looking good in Alaska. And now Democrats, assuming they win these states, would only have to win one of these 5 states to win back control of the Senate in 2026. And if this keeps tracking, if stuff like this, if events like this keep happening, Democrats are going to easily flip either Ohio. They could flip Texas with James Hillergill. They could flip Nebraska with Dan Osborne. I actually don't have independent. I'll add an independent real quick. 1 second. Independent will make you yellow. And they could flip Nebraska with independent Dan Osborne. Now, personally, I think Florida and Iowa are out of reach, but this Senate map in 2026 is not completely out of the realm of possibility. With the way things are shaping, with the way Donald Trump's approval is going, and midterms are a referendum on the president of the United States. They just are. They are. I mean, look at past elections. 2022 was Biden's midterm. It was a Republican. Not 2020. Whoops. House. 2022 was the Biden midterm. Republicans did well. They won the popular vote by 3 points. 2018 was Donald Trump's midterm. Democrats did astoundingly well with Donald Trump in office. They won the popular vote by 8 points. 2014 was Obama's midterm. Republicans won the popular vote by 5 points. 2010, Republicans won the popular vote by 7 points. Midterms are a referendum on how the president is doing. And as things are shaping to be, Donald Trump is not doing well, and Democrats are in for an absolute blue wave in 2026. Republicans should be absolutely terrified of what's to come unless they dramatically change the way that they are governing right now, because it is not sitting well with everyday Americans. It may be sitting well with some of MAGA, but with everyday Americans, the people who will decide the midterms and will decide the 2028 election, do not bode well with what is happening in the state of Minnesota and what is happening nationwide with Donald Trump. Okay, that's enough of my talking. This was my yapping. What are your thoughts on this news, electorally or just politically at all? I'd like to hear what you think in the comments. If you have any video ideas, comments, suggestions, I'll make a video on it. I will. If you enjoyed this video, I encourage you to like the video, to subscribe to my channel. I upload election news every single day. And yeah, hope you have a great day.